Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to day 1427 of our Wake Up Everybody virtual community. Today we are talking about restoring the village mind. And my name is Marilyn Douglas-Jones. I'll be your educator, coach, consultant, facilitator today. I look forward to having a wonderful discussion with you for 30 minutes. And let's hope we're all alert, awake, interactive. Grab a cup of whatever it is that wakes you up and gives you life in the morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Day 1427 in our Wake Up Everybody virtual community. Our topic today, restoration of the village mind. And I think it's a much needed conversation. And I hope it will be a conversation where we give and take ideas. There's no real expert here, just questions, ideas. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, Rashida. And I'm the Zoom user. Let me fix that. Rename myself. Welcome, Zakia. Welcome, Chantel. Thanks for waking up, Sierra. Let's see, who have I missed? We are good to go. Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Day 1427. Thankful to be alive in
Grand
this
Rising, Professor Marilyn.
grand rising, Queen Rashida. Okay. Happy to be here. Happy to see you here. Okay. Let me get out of so much of this. Welcome, welcome. How are you doing, Z? Hello, Miss
Grand
Chantel.
Rising, beloved Grand Rising.
Good, good. Wake up, wake up. There's Teresa. Adam. Come on in, come
Peace and
on
blessing,
in.
Dr. Marilyn and everyone else. Glad to be
Good
here with
morning,
myself.
good morning. Same to you, Grand Rising. All right, here we go. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together. Good morning, and hopefully we will do everything that song, that beautiful song by Jasmine promises together. Okay. Our topic today is restoring mental wellness in the village, restoring the village mind. And I'm sure you're curious as to what that is. It's my same song with a little twist. Today we always hear about body, mind, and spirit. And this is the first in a series of three where We are restoring mental wellness, a village mind in our village of abundance. So for those of you who've heard me talk about abundance, this is still a continuation with a twist. Next slide, please. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so do not think of this as low vibe. This is how we're going to raise our vibes permanently if we can. I'm sure you've heard the mind is a terrible thing to waste. Where did you hear that? Let's start talking to each other. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. Where have you heard that expression? Anyone jump in? What does that mean to you?
We've got Teresa with her hand up. Go ahead, Teresa.
Was something
Go
that they
ahead.
played when I was a kid as a commercial. It was also connected to like, going to college and, getting your education and stuff. That's when I heard it as a child. And what it
Awesome.
means to me is that, your mind is powerful and just don't sit back there and just let it, don't be used for the glory of God that's in your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm glad you attached college to it because it's the motto of the United Negro College Fund when they're raising money to send students to HBCUs, right? They say the mind is a terrible thing to waste. And this is when they were launching us in larger numbers into the college experience so that we could go beyond just labor intensive jobs to that middle income, upper income position. Now, the picture has these negative dysfunctions that the mind may have, but let me suggest that the causes and effects of that mental dysfunction is not permanent. It's the way we have been conditioned to think instead of being the way each individual human being is allowed to think. And it can lead to some severe challenges, but they're just challenges to be overcome. And then, of course, we have the Bible term, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so we want to renew our mind and eliminate wasting the mind because it says then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. Now, do we know, or maybe we can't understand what God's pleasing and perfect will is, but we know that it is positive. The outcome will be positive. Destiny may seem far away, but if we have the right mind, we will fulfill our proper destiny. Any response to that? Anybody want to agree, disagree, add a little? Okay. Then we shall move on. Good morning, Miss Kaisha. Next slide, please. And there's one of my favorite people, and another expression, only the truth can set us free. So, how do we restore the mind in this busy society? Well, in our village, a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. A tree without roots is unstable, and it takes us back to that picture of all the things that could go astray with the mind, right? Why do we need to know our past history, our origin, and do we have a culture that's related to our past history and origin? What shape is our tree in? Are we deeply rooted, moderately rooted, lightly rooted, or very shaky? Where are we on this tree planting? Any ideas? What shape is society in right now?
Teresa has her hand up again.
Okay,
I
go
think
ahead.
I think we have been told who we are and who we are not. Like you're not this and you're not that, but that's not who we are. And I do think that we're deeply rooted. It's just that some other people, some of us need to be dug down, like dug in, like to bring us, to dig us in, like, to be
Mm.
like what you call it, like when you have a plan. Sometimes you got to dig deep down in the plant, to maneuver the plant. Like when you're planting something, you just can't put the plant on top of the ground. You have to dig down into the dirt. And I think sometimes, myself, needs a lot of digging in to pull out, my roots and the glory, of who God made me. Because a lot of times you don't. Sometimes you haven't been told who you are, but then when you be around the right people, they would encourage you to show you parts of who you are, but they also show you places that you could even dig deeper, to get more rooted and to get even more rooted and grounded than what I've been in the past.
Awesome. Z, did you want to add anything to that, or how rooted are we?
I I believe it depends on where you're digging. So some of us are very deeply rooted and working hard to pull the rest of us into that root. Some of us are moderately rooted, and some of us are on really really shaky ground. Um, it's on those of us who are uh, uh, deeply rooted, or at least heading in that direction, to continue to work to help us all get to the same place. Um, there's so much going on in the world, and so many distractions, and so many things to wonder what you should believe, what you should not believe. Our history is our greatest resource in many ways, uh, on two sides. Knowing our greatness gives us the, what's the word I'm looking for? Not the motivation, the incentive to know that we are great and can show and act on that greatness. And then also knowing where where we slipped up and fell into certain uh, places, paying attention to what we fell for that put us where we are, will help us to keep us from doing it again. So there's another phrase. Uh, it was just a minute. Hey, give me a second. Um, I can't
Okay.
remember right now, but it's about, if you don't, oh, if you don't if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. Something along those
Okay.
lines. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yes. People who don't know their history are bound to repeat it.
yes,
Something like that.
yeah.
Okay. And so, um, our experience in high school with history, more than likely we were taught dates and who won a war versus even why the war was fought in any depth and what did winning mean. We know that in 1492, Columbus discovered America, which was not true. So right away, the history we've been taught has either been totally false or partially false and lacking depth, right? Which means if our history lacks depth and width or breadth, then the roots will be in shallow ground. Next slide, please. So we have what's called the myth of origins. Where do I come from? Where does where I come from mean if I know where I come from? And everything we've been told defies scientific logic about race, gender, and ethnicity. Why do I say that? The first thing, you can see the deception if you pay attention. On any given application in the West, especially the United States and Canada, it will start with two colors. Are you black or white? Right? And then the next thing it will shift. So this is just the race category. It shifts from two colors to maybe even a language group like Hispanic, which that word means somewhere along the line you were conquered. Your people were conquered by Spain, so you had to learn Spanish. It's not even about your what they call race, because there are black, white, and brown Hispanics, right? And then we switch to a landmass. We've got Asian, we've got African, right? And so there's just a lot of confusion to start from the very beginning with an application form. Your birth certificate even has false blanks in it, right? And people fill in every 10, 20 years with a census, the black changes. You know, we're Negro, we're colored, we're black, we're African American, and now we have biracial or multi this or multi that. So this system is not meant for us to have a stable, well-rooted mind, right? And then we get to gender, and now we also have multiple options besides male and female. It's purely political because our race is we are one human race. There are two genders. Nobody's claiming a third or fourth or fifth. It's just the way we identify ourselves. It's not really about gender, it's about identification. And so our identity is constantly being adjusted based on, yes, our reality, but not the ultimate truth, right? Or we're not grounded in the truth first before the new realities based on the age we're in comes out. And then ethnicity is often confused with race, right? So someone can easily say, what race are you? Meaning, what ethnicity are you? So how do you identify yourself? I'm a human female, right? My ethnicity is actually very mixed because it's not my color, right? It's where maybe I'm from. We can start with African American of Jamaican descent, right? And culture is Caribbean. So there's a whole lot about me that's not in a one-word answer about my ethnicity. There's a whole lot about you that's not in one word answer about your gender. And you are never allowed, in a sense, based on the paperwork, to say simply other, meaning you're human, right? You have to pick an ethnicity or a geographic alignment or something else, right? So culture is something else. Culture is almost the more honest one because then you can really pick because you're in it, right? You've chosen this and it's fluid. Anybody want to say anything about that quickly as we move through the slides? Is there anything that doesn't make sense, or have you thought of it this way, that you're a human, male or female, and other parts of your identity that may not show, but you're now revealing. And then how's your ethnicity different from your race? All right. But all these are on the paper. And you have to commit to what they have, which forces your mind to be uprooted. Anything about that? Okay, let's move
And
on in the
can I ask
interest
you
of
a
time.
question? It's
Is
like,
there a handout?
what is the difference between culture and what you said? Culture and because I'm kind of confused.
Ethnicity?
Yes.
Okay, ethnicity tends to be related to your look in a way, right? Um, and how your tribe in a sense. It's not something that you change. It's what you permanently identify with in terms of, let's say in Africa, we've got Igbo, we've got Yoruba, we have Efik. Well, I'm naming the Nigerian ones, right? And then you have nationality. Sometimes people call that their ethnicity, right? But ethnicity is probably the closest thing to what we're trying to mean by race. Because with race, we never say human. So if someone asks you, what's your race? You might answer ethnicity. I'm African American from down south, or um, Haitian American, or I am Bermudan American, right? And that puts you in a place, right? So African Americans are connected to Africa, okay? But in terms of ethnicity too, it is how they're looking at you and where that look might be coming from. Louisiana Creole or something like that, right? But it's more the truth about yourself when you identify racially as an ethnic group, because racially they're not even allowing us to identify as human. And this is a conversation that every different ethnicity should be able to discuss and heal some wounds tied to that. Because when someone, ethnicity on the bigger scale is I'm human and my ethnicity is Asian, African, or European, or Western Indigenous, Native American. Those are real ethnicities if we go into human for race. Is that, hopefully that makes sense, right? But again, it's the law that tells us no, you have to lie, basically, right? But in a conversation, you tend to tell the truth in terms of ethnicity for race. Next slide, please. So this is called gaslighting. Racism is systematic. It is institutional. You have to respond the way they want you to respond, or they say something's wrong with you. So gaslighting is that mental, psychological manipulation in order to control us, and it can have neurological consequences when it is part of the system, and it always is part of a system, right? It forces you to be stuck into a box or category. And so when you complain that someone just treated you in a racist way, oh, you're imagining that. You're always twisting things. That joke was funny. Don't be so sensitive. You're always so defensive. No, don't you agree that Black people do this? Don't you agree that women always do this? You're just being too sensitive. You need help. That's not what I meant. That's how you took it. I'm sorry you take it that way. But I'm sure I told you that this is absolute fact. And you're just taking too long to get it. And so the blame is on you. You internalize that and you walk around with one of those dysfunctions on the first slide, right? That's called gaslighting. When they're telling you you did not hear what you heard and they still can't explain what they meant, but you're supposed to accept it the way they are. And this is where all these isms come in as a sustained system. We've got the racism, we've got the ethnocentrism. Like if the name of your restaurant doesn't have a French twist to it, it's not classy. But you name a restaurant with an African name and automatically only certain people go there. Or some curious person will go but not stay for a sustained period of time to support you, right? It's like soul food. We won't go to a soul food restaurant, we meaning other people, but they will go to the drive-through chicken place. They'll go and buy barbecue ribs And if the drive-through ends up adding macaroni and cheese, they'll do it, even though all of that is soul food, but was divided up so that other people could make money out of our soul food, right? So it's called greens and not collard greens necessarily, and it's in a restaurant, a buffet or a cafeteria, right? And now it's healthy. But how did it get to where it is now? So gaslighting is a daily thing, right? It is psychological manipulation by someone who wants to have power over you. And it can lead to a lot of mental disorders, neurological consequences, generational issues, right? If you don't do it this way, I'm even going to beat you up, right? Next slide, please. Or let's wait on this one a second. Anybody want to respond about that? Let's see what the chat says. Z, an enlightening way to consider identity. Grand Rising, Queen Laura. Have you ever been gaslighted? Are you noticing? Is it happening less, more often? The system, politics, people wanting power. Okay. Next slide, please. And so internalizing the real truth will set the village free from our first one. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. They have been wasting our minds for a long time, including what they teach their children to maintain control over us and for their children to remain in control, right? But if we know the truth, which is in our faces, but we've been so discouraged from being literate that we have not read the Bible in its full, page one to page Genesis to Revelation. We have not read the Quran, but we can judge people who believe in it. We have not read the Bhagavad Gita. We see little snippets of it maybe, and it might be a trend that we follow it because we're doing yoga or something, but we have not read it to understand that it's all about one humanity. And so because this gaslighting is in a system, we see it as normal because we don't know anything else. And we think it can't change because we see people that keep hurting us, right? But a man might hit you and say, "You made me do it." That's gaslighting, right? So never forget, according to Marcus Garvey, it's August, it's his birth month. It's Black Business Month. But what are we doing? Are we supporting a Black business? A little side plug for everything. Never forget that intelligence rules the world. Intelligence means the right information. It doesn't mean anybody's smarter than us. It means they're insane enough to use what they know about us against us, right? And our ignorance carries the burden. So you have that pyramid, right? Which normally is a positive thing, but not here. In this society, it's not. It's this one must stay on top, and everybody else is somewhere in the middle or the very bottom, and they have that application to decide who's at the bottom and who stays there. And we see other people passing us by, depending on the position we're in, and think that's just how it is, but it's not, right? So remove yourself as far as possible from ignorance and seek as far as possible to be intelligent, to have the right information, to be, right? Not just to do as we're told. Okay. Any comments there? As we get to the bottom of the hour, we are moving pretty well, but let's not be too quiet.
We
We
had
may have to go a few minutes over.
we had a few comments in the chat when talking about gaslighting. Taisha said that it's happened to her within relationships too. And then Z said gaslighting is sadly normal.
Absolutely. And so it's normal because it happens all the time. It's not spiritually normal. It's not morally normal. It's a system that we have accepted. So even normal will take on a different twist once we really pay attention. What did that person just say? And why did my breathing change? Or why did something move in my stomach? Right? So it's not normal for you. It may be normal for their behavior, and they're getting a kick out of gaslighting you, but it makes it hard to correct them because you want to do the right thing and say the right thing, or you believe it. You believe whatever they say. And so the gaslight, where's that term coming from? Technically, think of a stove, right? If you smell gas, that means there is gas. And if you don't light the stove quickly, there could be an explosion. And that's where those mental dysfunctions come in, right? You're burning the house down and it was not necessary, right? Next slide. Is there another slide? I'm trying to remember. Yes, of course. And so we've seen the cause, control. We've seen the effect, gaslighting, manipulating our minds to believe what is not real, what is not true, what is not good for us. It keeps us separated, these categories that we put ourselves in and make ourselves targets of attack. But Black redemption, and we'll see this word in the next series next Monday. Black redemption lies in decolonizing our minds to add courage to what we believe, our convictions. We know this isn't right. This just doesn't feel right. It doesn't sound right. It doesn't look right. So it can't be right. And so we now know the truth. And so we have the courage of our convictions. And if enough of us know the truth, we can unify to make changes as we have in the past, right? We fought on both sides of the Civil War. The right side won, okay? Some from the other side came over to our side. Some are still thinking that way today, but unity is our strength. We went from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement to Black Lives Matter, and we're increasing in strength. How do we stay together might be the next, or yes, the how is in our next series, right? So, Black redemption, restoring our mind, the mind that's a terrible thing to waste because we're so brilliant, it pops out frequently now, right? We see even children doing things that we normally say only adults do in terms of success and learning. We have 13-year-olds going to college because they've already learned everything that they were taught or they were curious about. And so now they're going to taking themselves to the next level. Sometimes we label them other names, but we see their genius and we pray that once they learn what they need to learn and they have the freedom to apply it, the world will be a better place. So decolonizing the mind starts with even how we identify ourselves racially. That's the key, right? Some other things are obvious. We just have to articulate it. And we need to have the courage of our convictions, make sure our convictions are based on truth so that it won't change. And then we find like minds in woo spaces and other spaces to get strong enough where we can work together and advocate for common sense. Right? Any comments on that one? That's pretty much our last slide. So
I
think
just
about
want to
that.
thank you. I'm sorry. I want to thank you for this conversation because it helped me so much because I feel like I have been gaslighted, and then I begin to gaslight myself, to believe in what was told to me, and I didn't realize how much it had effect, how I was showing up in places. And so
Mm-hmm.
this really just hit me like really deep in my heart to really just look at all the things that I listened to,
Mm-hmm.
even that I've told myself, in the past, like
Mm-hmm.
like this is why this is happening, that's why that's happening, but it's lies. And I just listen to, I feel like gaslighting the lies that people tell you to make you feel bad
Mm-hmm.
about yourself. And I'm just so grateful for this. Thank you so much.
And I'm glad you said something. It was a slip, and you said got gas, and you did take it on to gaslighting. But think about it. Why do we get gas? We either eat bad food or we haven't had any food, right? And how do we get rid of gas? We eat, and then the food helps us to get rid of gas, one way or the other, from the top or from the bottom, right? So we need the right information, which is food for the soul. And that way we'll get rid of that gas, right? So that we don't have to light a fire and explode things, right? Anyone else as we close out? Miss Rashida, you're quiet today. Sister Laura, hope you're doing well.
Grand Rising, my dear sister. I am here uh, digesting and listening and learning. And it took me back. Your presentation this morning took me back to 4 years, 4 years and a half, 4.5 years ago. I was getting prepared to go on a back surgery. So they did the intake and they do investigation and they ask a question, and I'm sitting there in the nurse's office, and she come in, well put, and boom, 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 and she stepped into the room. And she said, "Oh, I see that you didn't fill in what ethnicity you are and what race you are." I says, "Excuse me," but she was really furious. She was wanted to gaslight me. I said, "Okay, no problem. I'm ready for it." And she says, "What race are you? Are you Latina? Are you Negro? Are you African American? Are you?" I says, "I'm a human being." Oh my God, why did I say that? That lady came out of that room and brought the doctor. And this lady is being rude. And the doctor said, "Why? What happened?" She said, "Oh, I'm asking her about her and our race." And he said, And what was her answer? Because I put others. And she says to the doctor, "Oh, she says she's a human being." And the doctor says, she's right. Just put it down and leave her alone. So this, that's why I say this conversation took me back to this, and really and truly, I remember good. My one of my aunties, you know, I'm a mixed race because I'm a maroon, I'm a Indian from Costa Rica. My background is family is a melting pot. My grandfather is from the East Indian. So, it's a whole mix. So my auntie eventually started give us the education. He said, "We are a human being. We from the human race, and that's it. Don't go into the rabbit hole and looking for anything else because you're not gonna find it. You're gonna just find a melting pot." So thank you so much, Professor Merlin. This is just right up, and I say it's what an education. Thank you. I really appreciate coming on the car and listening to your nuggets that you are putting into my bucket. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. We live this every day, you know, and now we can have a joke in our head when we hear these things. This person has gas. They need to let it out because I know the truth about me, right? So sometimes that's all it takes to kind of brush things off, because they don't know better. And they're so strong in their conviction about false things. She thought something was wrong with you when it's the system that makes her think that way is the only way to identify yourself. But some smart person put other at the bottom and leaves a line for you to say something else. And when I didn't want the job, after, I put human under other. I didn't put black, white, African American, white, Hispanic, non-white, none of that. I just checked other and filled in the blank with human. And of course, I didn't get called back, right? But I've had the same job for decades, so I know what it takes to get it. And I know when I don't like the situation, I put the truth in there, right? Okay, in the chat.
We've got Z who said people would get upset because I called myself a mutt. Human being will be my answer moving forward.
Absolutely.
And then
And the interesting about a mutt, right? It's an animal, right? So I mean it's said humorously, and that's one thing, but then we need to look at the words that we use to label ourselves too. Okay. When we say it, we're saying it in humor, but sometimes people call us that and we don't like it. That's confusion. It's like the N-word, right? The N-word, we claim when we say it to each other, it's loving. No, it's not loving. You're inviting the group. Let's hate ourselves, right? And then we change the spelling. So it means something different, whether it's an ER or an AH or an A. And that's confusion. That's total gaslighting. That's a major mental dysfunction, right? And we don't need to have the next generation pass it on to the generation after that. So En Vogue says, free your mind and the rest will follow, right? And so how do we free our mind? We know the truth so that we can be set free. And it requires not someone telling you alone what the truth is. It's for you to then inquire. And a doctor is right when he corrected the nurse because he studied biology, right? So did we pay attention in biology class, right? There's only one skeleton in the room. It's not even a male skeleton or a female skeleton. The difference between us is padding and function, right? We all have the same muscles and the same bones and the same this, and nobody's one rib short. So it's in every institution that the system gaslights us unknowingly by the humans, but the system knows, right? So what do? Learn for ourselves, love communities like this, embrace truth tellers, and move on so that the next generation has a free mind, right? Right now, our young people are just blossoming. So the money is following them. You used to have to be in college to go to the pros. Then they started taking you out of high school. You have children in their pre-teens, not even teens yet, that have lemonade businesses or whatever, lawn mowing businesses. So everything we need is inside of us, and it's just a matter of bringing it out and not letting other people stifle us. We need a firm rooting so that the tree can blossom anywhere it needs to blossom, bear whatever fruit it needs to bear, so that we have no wasted minds. Okay. And so next Monday, I'll talk about restoring the body. So we'll see what that's all about, what weird stuff I'm going to come up with about that one. Right? So I thank you for listening and sharing in the chat and talking. Right?
we did have
And
a hand up at
yes.
one point. Laura Clark, did you still want to share?
For the sake of time, I don't want to keep Professor going over time too much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a new location, so I got mixed up with my time. Sorry. So next week, I'll continue. Thank you,
Mm,
Professor.
can we hear it today, please? I don't want you to forget.
No, I was just thinking about the difference between gaslighting and brainwashing, because gaslighting seemed to be a new term, fairly new term for me. Maybe not, you know. So I
Yeah,
was just wondering about the difference between both words, gaslighting and brainwashing.
perfect. That's a good way to close it out. Brainwashing is when they tell you the falsehoods, right? And they gaslight you to reinforce the falsehoods because then they put the application to where it's got the two colors and the different countries or land masses and the language group. That's forcing you, right, to follow what they told you in the first place. Remember, we weren't human, and they still think of us as three-fifths human, right? Women are the weaker gender. They can't do this, they can't do that until you see martial artists, right? That are children that can defeat a grown person. So, brainwashing is you going to school and getting that education, and gaslighting is when things are changing and you're learning for yourself and they're telling you, no, it's like I taught you. So something is wrong with you for thinking this way now because this is the way it's always been, and you're mistaken. Something's wrong with you for seeing the truth. Right? So they're one and the same, except gaslighting is kind of punishment for enforcing the brainwashing. Right? So anybody
Yeah.
you see with gas, you just don't worry about them because you know better. And if you can correct them, if they're a person that can learn and grow with you, fine. Other than that, you got gas, go take some medicine or something. Does that help?
Definitely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, so everyone, if there's nothing else, have a great week.
You want to talk to me
Uh,
about your special offer?
Special offer is my usual offer because this is where we suffer the most. We think we don't deserve to be wealthy. We don't deserve abundance. That's just the way it is. Offering, of course, my usual complimentary consultation and financial planning workshop series, no charge. And it's up to you to take advantage of it. Because another gaslighting is if it's free, it can wait or it's not worth it. But sometimes the best things in life are free, and this kind of free can make you wealthy.
And how can they get that? How should they reach out to you?
This is my contact information. Text me your email and I will send you the link. And then you can follow me on social media. I have a lot of social media handles. Instagram is one of them. Facebook, of course, has my name, and it also has Caribbean Impact. It's a global association of people that you can get in. And then, of course, my actual email, pvchambertx@gmail.com, is where you can email me as well. But I need your email and phone number to send you the link for the consultation. And you get to choose the most convenient time for yourself. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Marilyn, for this session. As kind of talked about today, we spoke about unity and kind of how we can come together to go against some of these things that we discussed. Meeting in spaces like this, as Professor Marilyn had said, is a great way to join in unity. So to keep this up and running, you can sign up. Chantel will put the links in the chat to give a love offering. You can set it up to come out every month. You can do $25 a month, $50 a month, $75 a month, or $100 a month. This goes to keeping these platforms running. Tech likes to not be free. So this helps provide the Zoom space, those automated texts. Otherwise, we're completely volunteer run, from the facilitators to the admin. So in order to keep this space growing and continue to come in unity, if you're able, please consider clicking a link and doing it monthly. Then you don't even have to think about it. If you need a different amount taken out, you can always email us on a slide coming up to kind of help set that up as well. Coming up, let's see, tomorrow we've got Asia Sunrise Hawk. She's going to be talking about Yo Mama the Chicken and Made You Look, stimulating serotonin. That sounds interesting. If you've got time in the morning, please join it to hear a little bit more about that. And then on Wednesday, we always love a surprise. We've got TBD by Alfonso Wyatt. So if you're able, please join us for both of those. Continue coming together and hear what we all have to say. We also want to thank any new members. I don't think I saw any new names, so let's change that. Try to invite folks. The more people that we can kind of bring in, the more people we can educate together, kind of have communication with together, have bigger discussions. So if you got a family member that you know is awake, a friend that's awake, they can join us on Facebook too while they're getting ready for work. So thank you to any future members that may be watching on Facebook or YouTube as well. And here's our schedule. We go live on Zoom every day except for Saturday and Friday and Saturday, sorry. On Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, we've got our longer sessions. That's from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. And this is Eastern Standard Time, so adjust as needed. And then we've got our shorter sessions on Monday and Wednesday. These are our 30-minute sessions from 7 to 7:30, again, Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes we go over, but when the discussion is good, why cut it short? And then if you aren't able to catch us live on Zoom, we also stream to Facebook if you're on the go and that's easier. Otherwise, you can watch the playback on Facebook if that is something you'd like to do. If you'd like to be notified when we go live, you can text Woo Nation to 74121. And that'll let you know when to log on in. How you can keep in touch with us, you can register in the links that'll be dropped below. This will be an email to you letting you know who's coming up for the week. Just help you keep in the loop. We also have 2 Facebook communities. We have a public one and a private one. We stream to both of those. So if you're interested in kind of deepening the discussion, you can hop in the comments under a certain one. If you think of something later, you can always pop it in a comment there and, you know, keep the discussion going. We also have an Instagram at Wake Up Everybody Virtual. You can follow us on there. We also post a few things there. And then we have a YouTube, which is going to become kind of an archive of old videos, and then where we'll also post the new ones, so that way you can catch any session you'd like. Today's session will be on by later today, and you can also catch some of the earliest ones. If you're curious to see what Professor Marilyn was talking about way at the jump, you can go find those if you're interested. And then finally, we've got our email, info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. If you have any questions, if you'd like to be a facilitator, if you'd like to join the volunteer admin team, if you have really any questions, you can go ahead and email that and someone will get back to you with however they can. And with that, I'm going to take down the slides and invite everybody to come off mute and give Professor Marilyn a much deserved love shower. Thank you so much for your session today.
Thank you, beloved. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much,
Professor
Professor.
Leslie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you
Thank
all.
you. Great
Thank you
session.
for the
Great, great, great.
important information. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I appreciate you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
We got
Thank
Great,
a
you got the high pitched
chipmunk
voice.
on
Thank
here.
you.
That was
Somebody's
amazing.
audio was very funny.
Oh, I don't know how that was.
Have a great week.
Have a great week. Love
One
you.
love, guys. One love.
Love
Hey, Makia.
you. Mwah.
Rashida.
Yeah.